All right, guys, we're back on Southeastern 16. Max Barr joins here as we are going to throw it to our interview with Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard. And we talked a lot with him about the upcoming season for the Ole Miss Rebels, building off of a very nice Sweet 16 run this past season, Max. And we talked a lot about a lot of new faces in Oxford for the Rebels this year.
I'm telling you, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. Like, I am just buzzing right now. This was a
I'm
fantastic
shocked.
conversation. Fantastic conversation.
Yes, a great conversation, and no need to wait any longer. Let's jump in to a very fun and fascinating conversation with Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard. All right, guys, as promised, we are here with Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard. And, Coach, we got to start with some defensive questions. We love it here at Southeastern 16. I know, we've talked about just sort of over the years the concept of your defense and the different things that go into it, how, that everybody brings up the no middle and kind of the starting with the guards aspect is what I'm curious about this season. You have a lot of new faces in the backcourt. I know everyone wants to know, hey, how many points is this guy going to score and all that, but I'm more curious how you've seen that group just when you've had all the guys together, which I know has not always been the case this summer yet, but how you've seen this group adapt to maybe the defensive concepts you guys like to implement.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't get that a lot. That's kind of refreshing. I thought we were about to talk about the portal and how tough the SEC is. So, um, no, defensively, there's a lot that goes into it. I think one thing is we put together the teams each year with roster construction. We spend some time in recruiting and evaluation, and ultimately in conversations with the players, about our goals defensively. Um, I know we've had some really good teams over the years that were based on defense and got some attention, so we appreciate that. It's a compliment, but I've always been pretty quick to say that I don't think we're different than anybody else in terms of people striving to win a championship. I mean, you got to have a defense in this game, and ultimately, when it gets down to trying to win 6 games in 3 weekends, we've studied this. It's not just my opinion. We've studied it. Your defense has to show up. It's hard to predict that you'll play your best game offensively 6 straight games over 3 weekends. But if your defense can hold serve, so that's kind of where the whole thing starts. We're trying to win a championship. Another thing, kind of defensively, is we look at each player. We try to see, what they do best. What could be their strengths? Where could they be a real playmaker on the defensive side? And then we kind of combine that knowledge with kind of the non-negotiables with our team defense. But our defense does change from year to year based on the talent. So this year, many examples I can mention, but with Kezza coming over here as one of our experienced guards, he's as good as I've ever coached in terms of ball pressure. So one example would be, we'll extend the defense with Kezza, but maybe back it up with another guy. So with each player, we're constantly on a mission to find out where they can make plays defensively. On the other side of the coin, where their problem areas are, try to improve those, try to stay away from those, try to get strategies to improve defensively. But above all, if I had to describe our defense, probably more important than a no middle philosophy or a transition defense philosophy. What we're really trying to do is we're trying to be the most aggressive team. We're trying to make it where the offense can't just come down and do what they want to do for 40 minutes. And so I think at the core of it, I believe victory favors the most aggressive team. And so on defense, no matter what the time, score, competition, game, officiating, all the outside factors you can't control, at the core of it, we just want to try to be the most aggressive team.
Coach, I was going to ask you a question about Ilias because I just absolutely love the guy this offseason, but your answer's making me go in a different direction. So, speaking of that aggressive defense, that extremely aggressive defense, last year did not really have that true rim protector in the to back that up. Now you bring in James Scott from Louisville, who can do that and then some. How important is that addition to this defense, allowing guys like Kezza to get out there and be extra aggressive?
Yeah, it's big. Absolutely. This year with James, with Corey Chest, with Gusto, a long wingspan guy. We do have, I don't know if I'd say better rim protection because it comes in different ways, but we have shot blocking ability. We have vertical jump ability. We got some guys that can block a shot from behind. We got some guys that can help early. and make the shot taker take a tough shot instead of a zone. Last year's team, we just had to get it done in different ways. So much respect for Jamie and Brakefield, who basically played 5 positions for us. And Brake got to where he was really good at walling up. And he could deceptively go block a shot from time to time as well. But no, every team's different. Back in the old days when we could take charges, we would always try to either recruit a player that was elite at taking charges or elite at blocking shots. And so the teams change from year to year. But I would agree with you. It's no secret. It's not breaking news. We have some rim protection this year, and that's exciting. From a coaching standpoint, we're able to do some more tactical things than we probably weren't able to do last year.
Ole Miss fans are going to be on us because I'm about to ask what I know is another unsexy question. They like us to ask all the sexy questions here, but I'm going to ask about rebounding because I know you've talked about, rebounding, wanting to be a better rebounding team. You mentioned some of the new additions, whether it's Corey and James, and of course, Malik Dia comes back. I know you've talked this summer just about challenging him, needing that production rebounding wise to go up. But maybe I'm going to ask a little more of a philosophical question too. Like, you've mentioned kind of the bookends of your defense. It's getting back. It's getting back in transition, finishing with the box out, discipline, those kind of things. But I'm curious as a coach, like the characteristics, if this is going to be a great rebounding team, is it as simple as just those little fundamental things, or what are some of those other things, let's say in the elite rebounders you've had throughout the years, that are going to be needed to thrive in a conference like the SEC where there is so much size, there is so much athleticism?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you got to have the pieces, no doubt about it. And we do have some natural rebounders on this team. We've talked about Corey. We've talked about James. We also have some motivated players in our program. I think Malik Dia, I would say the same thing if he was sitting right here next to me. Malik Dia at 5.8 rebounds is a really good player. Malik Dia at 10 rebounds, is going to be in the draft conversation. So we've got some players that are motivated to do that. In over a 40-minute game, it starts with kind of the desire and the emphasis, the plan. I got to get some rebounds here. So I think we're better. We're in a pretty good spot right now in both ways. We've got some talented guys that have proven they can do it, and we've got some motivated guys that understand how important it is. I also think guard rebounding is very, very important. When people think about rebounding, you think about the leading rebounder, the tall, athletic guy. But our best teams over the years, we've had guards that average 4 or 5 defensive rebounds a game. If we can do that, it obviously helps our rebounding. It really helps our offense. When you get a playmaking guard like an AJ Storr or something like that, get a rebound, it's almost like an automatic fast break opportunity. So it's by committee. I've always understood that, team rebounding at the end of the game, you look at it, it's not just depending on your bigs or your highest rebounders. Those guards have got to contribute. And I think above all, I mean, you are what you emphasize. I think Coach Sampson, one of my friends, one of my mentors, he says it best. At the end of the day, you're going to be what you emphasize. And obviously with Houston, we know this. It's a rebounding program. Competing against Buzz and his teams when he was at A&M, that's obviously what they do. It's their identity. I think we have some identities too, but it's been something that I had to kind of reflect on myself as well. It's not on the players. We're in this together. So we've emphasized rebounding more this year from the first day of practice to this afternoon's preseason practice, probably more than ever. But no, we got to rebound the ball better. We've got to come up with that big rebound in big moments. We've got to manufacture some more offense with offensive rebounding. So it's a focus around here. It's easy to sit around and talk about. It's possible to sit there and practice and get it done. It's a lot more difficult when we start getting into SEC play with the competition that we have to face. But I would say this, we're emphasizing it. It's a daily focus. If you talk to any of our players today, they would mention rebounding early in their conversation with you guys. So that's a good thing right now for us.
Coach, I'm probably going to butcher the last name here, so bear with me. But Kamerdine, you got to correct me on this. Where am I going with this?
The New Yorker in you.
Yeah, I just call him Ilias.
Ilias.
There you go.
That's what we're going to roll
that
with.
Way.
That's what we're going to roll with. Okay, Ilias. So comparing to last year, 5'11" Juju, 6'1" Padula. I know you had Davin and Matt there at 6'4-ish, 6'5-ish, but just, I guess for Ole Miss fans also, it's going to be a little bit of a different look, bring something else to the table in the backcourt. What can we expect from Ilias early? I know he hasn't been with you for that long, and there's always that Euro to college adjustment period, but kind of what is he going to bring to the table for this squad?
Yeah, it just starts with positional size. Ilias and AJ. AJ's 6'4.5", 6'5" with shoes on. And so, yeah, our backcourt got bigger. That doesn't necessarily mean, day one we're better, because Juju and Padula were really good players, period. What Juju gave us from year one to year two, one of the most improved players we've ever had in our program. Very optimistic of his pro career, once he gets started. And Padula, at the end of the day, was just a dog. He was a competitor. So, but no, there's no doubt about it. There's some different things you can do from a coaching standpoint when you have more positional size at the guard, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball, with some different switches or some different points of pickup, just some different things you can do. No, we hope that will pay dividends. We can also play, with both of those guys with kind of back to the basket, what we call Rondo in our program, what other people call Barkley. Our point guard, our playmaker, being able to play back to the basket to initiate offense. But we do have an opportunity to play, a bigger lineup. But we still have the opportunity to play fast and quick as well. I think the plan for us is with guys like Corn and Kez and Travis, for those guys to fill some of the roles that Padula and Juju executed very well for us.
Well, that kind of takes me into the next question, and I'll change it up a little bit based on like the offensive element, because again, we talk so much about the defense. I think some people do forget, and Max and I, who are kind of advanced analytic nerds sometimes, like you've had a top 50-ish offensive team in the country every single season since your first at Texas Tech. And I think obviously, as you said, you're losing some production from last year, but just in terms of, you mentioned, a little bit better size, maybe a little more, playmaking ability from someone like Elias. What are maybe some of the key dynamics you think you're going to see with this team offensively? And also, I could probably tie in just a question about Travis, because obviously he was someone we talked a lot about last year in terms of the role that he played at Kentucky, and maybe just kind of the role you see for him within this team offensively.
Yeah, so first of all, I think our offensive identity as we sit here today, after working with the guys for 8 weeks this summer, and we're in our second week of preseason right now with official practice right around the corner, we have a lot of depth. We have a team that is very competitive in practice, which is kind of a coach's objective. We've got, we got a 16-man roster, and really there's an argument for all 16 guys right now being in the mix. So that's really good from a practice standpoint, that we can do a lot of things in practice, which ultimately, when you have kind of a first-year team with only 2 returning players, and the reality that first game is right around the corner, we're able to manufacture things in practice with our depth and competitiveness that really help our team. I think we're going to be able to score in different ways. We're going to have more of a low post presence. It's a focus for Dia to get more things done around the basket. Some of the guys we recruited have some real game around the basket, not just bigs, but guards. I've mentioned guys like Ilias and AJ that can post up. So offensively, we have some diversity. We have a lot of depth. I believe we could be a really good 3-point shooting team. Our best teams over the years, whether it was Angelo State or Little Rock or a couple of our Texas Tech teams, were 3-point shooting teams. If we can get to where we have 4 or 5 guys, pushing 40% 3-point shooting, it just opens up our offense. We strive to be a team that can get to the free throw line. We have some work to do in that regard. But I think in our league, the SEC, going into year 3, knowing a lot more about this league now than I did 2 years ago, I think victory favors the team that can get to the free throw line consistently, especially late game. So we got a lot of really good things going offensively based on depth, balance. I don't think we have like one leading scorer on this team. We've got some 1,000-point type scorers like an AJ who's put the ball in the basket his whole life. But I think we're going to be at our best if we can get 4 or 5 guys in double-figure scoring, if we can be one of those teams that can beat you on any night in a different way. I think specific to Travis, I don't get tired talking about this. I think sometimes if people clip what you say, it can be misinterpreted. But I don't care. I believe in Travis. And I'm not saying the last school didn't. It's not what I'm saying. It's none of my business. I wasn't there, but I don't think that Travis Perry is just a shooter. I don't think Travis Perry's a guy whose game is defined. Man, you went 6 for 8 tonight. You're ESPN Player of the Night. You went 1 for 4 tonight. You got to play better. I think there's just so many more things Travis can do. I think Travis is an SEC player, even if he didn't have the jump shot he has. Okay, why? He's intelligent. He understands how to play basketball. He's a relentless worker. He's unselfish. He's a great teammate. He's got an IQ that allows him to do things that combat his athleticism. And he's a good athlete. He's not a guy that just can't play. He's got some speed and some quickness, but obviously he's not associated with SEC athleticism. He's associated with his shooting. But I'm the guy in the room that thinks it's much more than that. I mean, the guy knows how to play basketball. Like if you were in a men's league situation tonight, and you were in a gym in Little Rock, or you were in a gym in Jackson or Dallas, and you were picking, 4 guys to play with you, Travis is a guy you pick first because he knows how to play. He knows how to get your best athlete the ball. He knows how to get your shot blocker a chance to block a shot. And ultimately, I believe he's just a guy that knows how to play basketball. So he's just a sophomore. He's got a lot of years ahead of him, but there's a major role for him here now. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he has like a breakout type season. That's what I'm counting on because I believe in him.
Coach, speaking on having a lot of years ahead of him, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Tyus Jordan. Hasn't really been talked about too much in the national media this offseason, but we really like him. I really like him. And I was just kind of wondering, like, in general, are we thinking more like big wing? Is he versatile enough to do a little bit of everything? I mean, this is quite the prospect in Tyus here.
Yeah, all of the above. It's one of my best stories I've had kind of recently in my coaching career. I'm really proud of Tyus. And we can't, as a staff, really claim credit for this. A lot of it is just him individually. So he's obviously, a long, athletic, talented guy that can do a little bit of everything. He can shoot a little bit, so he's not a non-shooting athlete. He can play some defense, so he's not a guy that just plays on one side of the floor. His journey is unique, like everybody's journey is. Transferred high schools his senior year and really got out of his comfort zone, played at a national high school where simply stated, he wasn't the best player on his senior year high school team, even though he's a really, really good player. And on many nights, he was the best player. But I think that was the first thing about Tyus that I respected. And it was nothing against his previous high school, because that high school really made him what he was, to give him the confidence and the platform to play and be best player type guy. But I think the decision to go somewhere his senior year where he basically played at a higher level of competition on a day-to-day basis, practice more important than games, was the first thing that really caught my eye. And we certainly didn't ask him to do that. We weren't involved in that at all. But that decision kind of showed me, like, man, this kid's got a little alpha in him. He understands kind of the big picture. When you recruit a guy like Tyus, you see him play in high school and you see him play on the circuit. And sometimes on the circuit, you can see a very competitive, almost like Division I type game. But in my opinion, you never know about the toughness factor. You never know about the physicality factor until they get to campus. It's very similar when we had a guy, Jarrett Culver, years ago, that was a really, really good player in high school, wasn't the best player on his AAU team, wasn't a 5-star guy, wasn't a McDonald's guy, but, man, we just saw something in Culver. And really what we were all waiting on is when he first got to practice in Lubbock, is this a guy we're going to have to develop in terms of learning how to play with this speed and physicality and just playing hard, for lack of better words? And if that was the case, no problem. That's our jobs as coaches. But I'll never forget Culver's first practice. He's going right at veterans like Justin Gray and Norris Adiase and guys we had. So, I can't take credit for that. It's just Culver was internally very competitive and physical. Same thing with Tyus. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were excited when Tyus got to campus. Player development guys loved him. Look at this length and athleticism. Great kid, not good. Like a sponge, wants to get better. But that very first day we played pickup in the summer, Tyus gets popped in the nose and goes right back. Tyler doesn't mind the collision to go get a rebound. And so I got high expectations for this guy. I mean, he's got to run his own race. I'm not predicting that he's going to be an All-American tomorrow. But if this guy continues to do exactly what he's doing right now and just find value in each day getting better, then I have no problem putting my name on it. He's going to be a special player. And again, a lot of it is just him eternally. Mother, special person. Tyler has a good group of people around him. He doesn't have 18 agents or 4 handlers or 2 workout guys or a cousin that lives, in Houston, putting stuff in his mind. Tyler is a guy that comes in every day. He's got a lot of confidence about him, and he's just like, "Hey, coach, here I am. I want to get better." And so, no, he's going to be a really good player.
Coach, finally, it's your 3rd year at Ole Miss, and, for us, just seeing the growth of this league, obviously, we joked, like the SEC is the standard right now in college basketball in terms of just the overall strength of the league. But I'm curious just for you from an Ole Miss, Oxford, like you've done a lot of things like the throwback game, kind of embracing the history of Ole Miss basketball, and all of that. How have you seen just the Ole Miss fans kind of be able to follow along this journey? I know it's only been a couple of seasons so far. The more games you win, the more people that are probably going to be locked in. But how have you kind of seen the reaction just from Ole Miss fans here as, again, you enter year 3, continue to try to grow this program, make a nice run last year, and now keep trying to build off of that?
Yeah, it's been awesome. We've been at some special places before. We've built some programs from really ground zero to the top. And so we have some reference points. So some of my opinion about where we are right now is based on comparisons. And then some of my opinion is just based on the reality where we are. I think in some ways we might even be a little bit ahead of schedule. We're selling out games consistently. We have a momentum and kind of an energy around with basketball right now. And we're very thankful. I think we've tapped into the past tradition, and Ole Miss has sneaky tradition. I understand when you think of Ole Miss basketball, you don't think of Dean Smith at North Carolina or Coach Thompson at Georgetown. But if you study it like I have, there is some sneaky tradition. For years and years and years, you couldn't get a ticket at the Tad Pad. There's been some championship coaches here: Evans, Barnes, Wetlick, AK, Kermit. Like there's been great tradition in recent history. There's been really good players, and so our deal was we weren't just trying to reinvent the wheel. The first thing we were trying to do is just reignite the fire, remind everybody where this thing was and where it could be. The second thing, and I'm really appreciative of, is there's been a willingness to maybe try new things around here, starting with our chancellor and our athletic director, our foundation, our collective, and really our season ticket holders, our student body. So, if we want to do some things here that have never been done, make a Final Four, win a regular season championship, become a top 10 type team, then we have to do some things that maybe have never been done here before. And so just kind of a willingness, as a coach, the one thing you never want to hear when you take a job is, "Hey, we've never done that before," or "We don't do that here." We don't want to hear that. We want to hear, "Okay, we understand. We want some results that we've never had before, so let's try some new things." And the other thing that has to be mentioned is just the excitement going on campus right now. Like a big part of our decision to come here is what Lane was building and sustaining with football, the Olympic sports, baseball, winning a national championship just a couple years ago. Last year, some special seasons with like volleyball, winning an NCAA tournament. Softball was awesome last spring. They had the whole state just on, our team was watching softball games in our locker room together. That's how exciting it was. So the other thing you kind of acknowledge is what is everybody else doing on campus? Because we don't think we have a magic wand. We just can't invent this thing from dust, but we benefit from all the success on campus with the other teams. And so that's been a big part of our early build here as well, is how successful football and some of the other sports have been.
Coach, we really appreciate the time. I know we're excited. Less than 2 months away now. We're fired up. We're ready to go. I know you guys are getting into it, so we appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
All right, that was Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard. Again, just a lot of fun, Max, to get his thoughts on a variety of things, not just the roster, but you know us. We like to ask those sort of concept type questions, getting into the philosophy and how that works. That's what we do here at Southeastern 16. We like to go a little bit deeper into this stuff.
Talking about guards backing down into the paint, a little bit of
I
bully
love that.
ball. Come on. Oh, I'm
Little
fired
bully
up.
ball action in Oxford, Mississippi this year, I think, for the Ole Miss Rebels. But we will, of course, talk all about it this upcoming season and every single week as we do here at Southeastern 16, covering SEC basketball year-round. Let's tell you quickly about our friends and sponsors. Game Time Sidekicks, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Every SEC school, over 350 more universities as well. You can get an Ole Miss cup if you're an Ole Miss fan. Check it out. A lot of great stuff. Everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. SE16 for 20% off for our viewers here. SE16, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Also, ROKFORM, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock. Maybe that describes the defense for Ole Miss. Max Barr. Secure mounting. September, their busiest month of the year of the new iPhone release. Check it out, SEC25 for 25% off over at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. And our new friends at HOVI Dry Goods, your new favorite hat. Look no further than the HOVI hats for high-quality headwear with a great fit and unique designs. Check it out. Over there, 15% off. You can use the code REBS, R-E-B-S, this week for 15% off over at HOVI Dry Goods. All right, there you have it. Our interview with Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard. More interviews to come here in the preseason for the SEC basketball 25-26 season. Lots more stuff on the way as well. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on your notifications so you know we're talking SEC basketball and everything else, SEC football, SEC baseball here at Southeastern 16. We appreciate you guys watching as always. We are presented by FanDuel, and thanks again for watching here at Southeastern 16.